I, female 25, found out my fiancé, Damien, male 29, had been cheating on me a week after he proposed, and I ended up figuring out the identity of the girl he was cheating on me with as well. She was some IG model type person, all beauty and no brains, and I ended up confiding in my close friends about it, and they immediately pushed me to break up with him. I was obviously really distraught and in a bad place mentally, and instead of going for a clean cut separation, I wanted a way to get back at Damien and try and hurt him as much as he hurt me. I think I ended up going too far. And some people in my friend group have started back bitching about me, and I need to know if I was TA for what I did. Damien and I were in a relationship for 3 years and engaged for around 4 months. We got together at work, and it seemed like a perfect relationship. I would have never thought that he would cheat on me, but he did. It wasn't even that he was in love with this woman, he just wanted sex. I only found out because after the proposal, I was using Damien's phone, with his permission, to order some food, and my fingers slipped and opened Snapchat. That's where I saw a snap from someone named Jocelyn, and it was a super racy picture. I immediately got flustered and closed the app, and by then Damien was back in the same room. I couldn't get what happened out of my mind, and while I wanted to blow up at Damien right then and there, I wanted to find out some more information about this girl. That's when I went through Damien's Instagram followers on my phone. I'm usually a secure partner and had never felt the need to sift through my fiance's socials. But obviously, after that, I needed to. I ended up finding someone with the name Jocelyn, but it was a private account. Her bio had a link to a public account where it was clear that Jocelyn was a model or an OnlyFans girl. I had two options here: either confront Damien about it or do some more sleuthing. I ended up choosing the latter and made a fake account with the dude's name. Like, it was super believable, and I got my friends to follow him as well. My entire girl group kind of knew what I was up to. And then I ended up getting accepted by Jocelyn's private account. There were tons of pictures of her with my fiance, out on dates, holding hands, lots of cutesy couple stuff. At this point, I was out for blood. And living with Damien and pretending like everything was okay was probably not the best idea mentally. I mean, this dude never posted me on his stories, but his side piece was posted with him. I began to DM this girl through my fake account and slowly won her trust and favor. I mean, I knew the type, and I knew exactly what to say to make her drop Damien like a stone. She was prepared to leave my fiance for this new guy because I made him come across as smart, charismatic, and wealthy. Mostly wealthy, to be honest. The clincher for my plan came when Damien asked me to go to Tiffany's to shop for wedding rings. I set a date for this and decided that it would be more than perfect to bring Jocelyn to the same location. I said that I wanted to spoil her with jewelry, and the trap was set. While Damien and I were browsing around the shop, I was eagerly waiting for Jocelyn to show up. When I saw her come into the store, I knew that she saw me and Damien, but I think I made a bit of a mistake because I was expecting her to come to confront us. Since she was planning on cheating on Damien, she tried to avoid us. And the plan only worked because I navigated my fiance right to Jocelyn's feet. I looked at her and said, "Hi, do I know you from somewhere?" When the realization dawned on Damien's face, he immediately tried to save the situation by saying, "Aha, I think you're mistaken, OP. Let's go look at rings." I guess that hurt Jocelyn's ego because she said, excuse me? And started cussing out Damien. I pretended to be shocked at everything she was saying and only said, "I'm his fiancé. Who are you?" And she ended up saying, "Girl, he's been fricking me for longer than you know. I think you ought to dump his ass." And then she ended up storming out. Later on, I got a text on the fake account from Jocelyn saying she wasn't feeling well and won't come to Tiffany's. I was gloating at all of this inside, I can assure you. On the car ride back home, I asked Damien about that girl, and he denied everything. He said, I haven't ever seen her before in my life, I swear. And that's when I told him that I knew everything. Not only that, I rubbed in his face the fact that Jocelyn was willing to cheat on him too, and he had nobody he could truly call his own. After that, I left him on the driveway and went back to my apartment. We had broken up. The whole scene after this was insane, and a lot of Damien's friends were losing their minds. He's been in a deep spiral after the breakup, and they're saying I was a heartless bitch for being so cold and calculating about how I could hurt him emotionally. My friends are on my side, but a few of them also feel like it might have been better for me mentally to just have broken up and checked out of the relationship instead of creating so much drama, purely from a practical standpoint. AITA for the fake account and Tiffany meetup plan? Update 1. So, after a lot of back and forth, discussions on text messages, and overall jawing about whether what I did was right, I fully acknowledge that I behaved in an immature fashion, and that even if Damien is an a-hole, I was creating more trouble for myself with everything I did. As for how things are now, well, I'm happy being single. Like, happy. I mean, I know it was toxic to have that whole breakup plan, but it deadened the loss of a partner to me because, in my mind, I had already lost him ages ago. So, in that way, there is kind of a silver lining. As for Jocelyn and Damien, they are also through. The problem with that is Damien knows how badly he screwed up by being with me and is constantly blowing up my phone to try and get back with me, while Jocelyn feels like I manipulated her into cheating on her boyfriend, our boyfriend who even knows what to call it, and has been using her Instagram pull to try and force me off of social media. I've gotten tons of hateful messages from people who don't know the full story. And I have half a mind to release all the details I have out into the public because that'll teach her a lesson. I've messaged her from my real account and told her to stop driving her followers to slander me, and I'll see if she complies. Otherwise, I might as well add fuel to the fire. Update 2. Jocelyn got even worse after I asked her to back off, to be honest. She isn't even focused on the fact that she lost the relationship, but more on the fact that I tricked her. One of my friends sent me a recording from her Instagram live where she flipped the entire story around to make it seem like I was the bad guy and said that Damien cheated on her with me. With all of that in mind, I decided that since I had screenshots of everything, it was time to put everything out in the public. It is an ugly thing to do, and to be honest, I would have preferred not to do it, but it's best to fight fire with fire. Well, it led to a massive chain reaction, and like Jocelyn's gossip is on every app's trending page. A lot of her livelihood has collapsed since people aren't willing to sponsor an influencer who's the butt of every joke. I feel a little bad about it, but to be honest, she messed with the wrong person. As for Damien and his pathetic attempts to win me over, I tried to get the message across by blocking him on all social media platforms. But then he started trying to communicate with me via his friends, and that was a big no for me. Like, he didn't want to show his face to me, but our mutual friends would always bring up casually, oh, Damien feels like shit for what he did to you. He's not eating, sleeping, anything. And I always respond to this with a clear message. I don't want to hear about it. I've had to cut off some of my friends because they didn't respect my wishes and kept trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for my ex. I will, however, start working towards moving on from all of this because it is taking up a lot of time and creating a lot of drama. I admit that I also played a part in it, particularly by outing Jocelyn, and it was done after repeatedly telling her to stop trying to mess with me. So I feel like it is still justified. Update 3. It seems that Jocelyn ended up moving out of state. She's deleted her Instagram page, and I heard that she left town. Good riddance, if I'm being honest. I never got an apology from her for the way she behaved, and I genuinely feel like she, along with Damien, is beyond saving. I wouldn't even have found out, but one of my friends mentioned it while we were out for brunch. As for Damien, I don't know what he's up to, but he's finally stopped trying to win me over. Again, good riddance. ESH, I don't think you're a major a-hole, and obviously, Jocelyn and Damien are grade A jerks, but it was definitely overboard to concoct such a long-winded breakup plan. NTA, this dude is a cheater, and his side piece is a malicious person. I found it hilarious that you went so far as to break up with Damien, and if anything, it's taught him to treat people with more respect. Is it immature? Yes. But you're young, and people do dumb shit without being an a-hole. And you're one of them. Next story. A little context said friend weighs 350 pounds. The only reason I know this is because we did the BMI thing on TikTok. Anyways, whenever we'll go to the mall, she'll continuously make us stop because she's out of breath and needs to sit. It's really annoying because it takes the time we have to shop. Not only does she make us sit, but whines about how tired she is while we're walking. It's gotten to the point my group of friends and I have been debating whether or not we should even invite her at all. So I was like, what would fix this? Why doesn't she just use those mobility scooters? First, she wouldn't be as tired and out of breath, and second, it would fix our time issue. So my friends and I FaceTime her and basically told about our idea and asked if she was down with it. She almost busted a tit over this and went on to ask us if we were saying this to call her fat. I said no, and that we were asking because we can't deal with her constantly having to stop. Basically, how I didn't get why she was so offended when we were just trying to help. She called us awful people and started saying how she couldn't control it because of her weight and we just needed to deal with it. I went on to say she was being selfish and asked how was it fair to us we waste all of our time because she makes bad food choices, and said it was either she used the scooter or she could stay home. She went on to cuss me out and hung up. All my friends think I was being nicer than they would have been, and they're completely on my side. My mom thinks I was a little harsh. She said she probably would have done the same thing. It got me thinking if I was the actual a-hole here. So AITA? NTA, 350 pounds or 175 kilograms is morbidly obese. And that is obvious to everyone. You haven't highlighted anything or called her anything. Maybe you challenged her denial. The physical condition comes with massive limitations and physical stress. It's her life and her body, and she can do what she wants with it. But equally, this applies to you guys as well. If you don't want to shop like that, she has to accept that. But she will probably feel left out, and you can plan another group activity with her. Maybe with movement that is easier for her, like in the water, because if that's her current cardiopulmonary fitness level, she's going to have big problems in the future, regardless of the kilos. You aren't the a-hole for asking. But when she said no, you needed to probably put a boundary out there for future planning. Hey, I only have X amount of time to get my shopping done. I would love to have you there, but your frequent need for breaks makes it so I can't accomplish my goal. Here are my suggestions. Use the mobility scooter. Wait at a cafe for me to finish shopping and I can meet you when I'm done. Not come on shopping trips anymore. I love to hang out, but understand if you aren't comfortable with the scooter, I care about you and value our time together. Going against the grain. And I know people say that all the time when they're posting something that is in total agreement with the overwhelming majority position. But hey, this one is actually in disagreement with the vast majority of judgments, but ESH. She shouldn't be burdening everyone with her whining, which, unlike the needing to rest, she could actually control, and shouldn't have exploded at you, but you were attempting to take away what sounds like the only form of exercise that a morbidly obese person is getting. That is unfathomably bad advice, akin to telling an alcoholic in recovery that they should go back to drinking because you enjoy their company more when they drink. What do you think that using mobility scooters instead of walking is going to do for both her obesity and her ability to walk in the long term? Next story. I, 55, female, have a friend, Jean, of similar age. She's not what I'd call a close friend, but I've known her for a long time. She's the type of person who always thinks she's right and won't back down easily from anything. A few months ago, she had a toothache and asked me which dentist I used. My dentist is amazing, so I recommended him. She has a dental phobia and asked me to go with her to her appointment. He was lovely to her, spent a long time talking to her, explaining everything, put her at her ease. She had a big abscess under one of her back teeth. He said it either needed root canal and a crown or extracting. The root canal crown would be the best part of £1,000 total, and he was really clear to her that it was a big abscess and there was no guarantee the root canal would work. He actually said the odds were 50-50, and it might be better to extract the tooth and put that money towards an implant or bridge instead. He said he could offer no form of guarantee, refund, if problems happened. He was clear in what he said. And I know she heard and understood that the odds were great. She decided to go ahead with the treatment. I went with her to one further appointment, but not all of them. Fast forward a few months. Everything was okay initially after the root canal and crown, but then she got another infection. She had antibiotics, but the problem persisted and she ended up having the tooth out. She is livid. You'd think he was the worst person in the world from what she says about him. She wants to sue him and has been to a lawyer to get advice. She is claiming that she wasn't properly warned that the treatment may not work. Apparently the lawyer is confident she'll get a payout. He's told her that it'll be hard for him to prove he properly warned her, and dentists are insured for this stuff. They think his insurance will pay out because it won't be worth their time to try and defend it. I am really annoyed at her for this because I know she's lying about not being warned. I really like the dentist and feel awful for him that he faces legal action for this, and that I was the one who introduced her to him. I worry that it will reflect badly on me in his eyes when I see him in the future. I have argued with her about it because I witnessed him warning her, but she says it's none of my business. Her view is it doesn't hurt him because he'll have insurance. Like I said, she doesn't back down from things. I feel so strongly about this that I want to send a written statement to the dentist that he can use back against her. I would state that I witnessed the appointment when he warned her and that she clearly heard and understood what he said. I know that in doing so I would probably lose her as a friend, but to be honest, I don't care about that at this point. My husband thinks I should do it. He's never liked Jean. He describes her as a nightmare and thinks I'm best off without her as a friend. So, WIBTA if I did this? NTA, tell your friend the dentist would be hurt if she followed through with her lawsuit. The dentist would be subject to higher malpractice insurance payments, which are quite high to begin with. You should call the dentist. Let him know you would be a witness for him. If a suit is filed, then a deposition from you will be required if he fights the suit. NTA, your friend is abhorrent. She's going after a nice dentist who did nothing wrong, and she's outright lying about what happened. This is fraud. She's openly said she's doing it because he has insurance and can't prove that she's lying. I'm so appalled. Normally, I'm a big believer in minding your own business, but this is just so wrong. He has insurance, yes, but his premiums could go up drastically if there is a successful suit against him, not to mention the possible effect on his reputation and the emotional effect of being sued when he did nothing wrong. This will hurt him. Do it. And if you lose the friend in the process, honestly, I would put that in the win column because she is an awful person. NTA. Her intended actions may have catastrophic consequences on your dentist practice and livelihood. Definitely write the character statement, and if it's not an impassable hardship for you, offer to provide eyewitness testimony on his behalf in any legal proceedings your friend may advance. Lastly, consider dumping this friend. She's proven herself to be dishonest in a way that is actively harmful and malicious, and she will have no qualms about treating you the same way should she perceive there's some financial benefit in it for her. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.